Hey guys, I'm Rolling Techusiast, and I've been using the Asus Zenfone 11 Ultra for over 2 weeks, and here's how it went. Let's take a look. Asus might not be the first brand that comes to your mind when you think of the latest Android flagships, but the company is still around and is very much playing the game. The new Zenfone 11 Ultra is a monster compared to its predecessor, and is just as large as the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. It features a beautiful Gorilla Glass Victus 2 glass on both the front and back, and the rear also gets a rather refreshing grid-like pattern that makes the device stand out. The Zenfone 11 Ultra looks gorgeous in this misty grey colour, and I appreciate that it doesn't have the same old single colour design as most of the flagships. The only downside of this design is that it's rather large, so you'll need two hands to comfortably use it. The other is that the glass back is quite slippery. Luckily, Asus thought about this and decided to include a standard black case, which also features the same patterns that can be found on the back of the phone. Moving over to the sides, the right side contains the volume rocker and a power button. There's nothing on the left, while the top contains a single microphone. The bottom hides a lot of good stuff. There's a USB-C port on the left side, a microphone, a speaker, and a good old 3.5mm headphone jack. It's been a very long time since I used a smartphone with an off-center charging port, but I'm happy to say that this didn't change the ergonomics of the device, even when I used it as it was plugged in. Sure enough, propping it up in the car could be difficult, so make sure you take that into account if you consider this. The Asus Zenfone 11 Ultra is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, and my device has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. When it comes to performance, this was an absolute beast. Everything ran perfectly without issues, and I didn't come across any hiccups and slowdowns, even when switching between multiple apps and games. Everything was smooth and went without a problem, and I also didn't experience the device to overheat. While some Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 devices can throttle, I didn't come across this even when playing more demanding games for longer periods. Overall, the Zenfone 11 Ultra will do a great job regardless of what you play and the number of apps you have open. It will deliver a great performance with smooth animations like most premium flagship devices. Given the enormous size, you won't be surprised to see that the Asus Zenfone 11 Ultra packs a massive 6.78-inch LTPO AMOLED panel. It supports 120Hz refresh rate, which can go up to 144Hz while gaming, making it great for playing first-person shooter games. The panel supports HDR10 and it has a peak brightness of 2500 nits, making it excellent outside. The outdoor visibility was excellent, and I was able to read my messages, browse, and go about my day without having to worry about seeing the screen. It's also great for watching movies, as the HDR effect makes the content pop even more. The screen does have a punch hole cut out at the top, but this never really bothered me, and it was small enough that videos and games didn't disrupt anything. The display is large, beautiful and colourful, and it's an excellent panel for consuming content and playing games. I'm also a great fan of the flat panel, which made it very easy to use without learning some new gymnastics, and for that, well done Asus. The Zenfone 11 Ultra runs Android 14 right out of the box, and the company promises 2 major Android and 4 years of security updates. Unfortunately, this isn't very competitive, especially when you consider that Google and Samsung are both committing to 7 years for maintaining their devices. 4 years is the bare minimum for software, and Asus has some work to do. Taking a look at the software reveals a mostly stock Android experience. The phone supports the Material U theming engine, and while it packs a few cool features built by Asus, none of these are extreme. I especially like that Asus included personalization options that let me change the look of the quick settings panel, the lock screen, the volume adjustment mode, and even the style of the incoming calls. All of these make the experience more unique and personalizable, and I wish other phone makers did the same. Besides these cool features, there's not much else that would stand out, which is a big win in my books, as Android 14 already contains most of the essential features that most of us would need on a daily basis. When it comes to gaming, Asus is well known for its ROG lineup. Fortunately, the company decided to bring over a few features to its Zenfone users, and the Ultra sports a few neat features. Users can easily add a crosshair, set up macros, and monitor their temperatures, and set up their gaming modes using the Genie Hub. All in all, the software package of the Zenfone 11 Ultra is excellent, and it's easily one of my favorite operating systems. It's fast, has plenty of features, and the animations are smooth. The only thing holding Asus back is the provided software support, which simply doesn't cut it at this day and age. The Zenfone 11 Ultra sports the same camera setup as its gaming sibling, the Asus ROG Phone 8 Pro. It's equipped with a triple camera setup consisting of a 50 megapixel primary, a 30 megapixel ultrawide and a 32 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical zoom. The front houses a 32 megapixel camera which is placed in the punch hole cutout. When it comes to photos in broad daylight, the Zenfone 11 Ultra does a great job. Most photos turned out great with good amount of contrast and natural colours. It's worth noting that the software does oversharpen and overprocess things, especially when using the wide sensor at 2x zoom. Generally speaking, the results are more than adequate and usable, and you won't need much tweaking before sharing them on socials. On the other hand, the dynamic range can be a hit or miss every once in a while, both on the rear camera setup and on the front. Selfies can have blown out highlights and the results aren't always consistent, but at least the object remains in focus with plenty of detail and sharpness. Portraits can also sometimes be a mixed bag, as the object separation isn't perfect, though the bokeh effect is rather good, but only when the object detection system kicks in and does its job. The telephoto camera is perfectly capable. It captures excellent photos in all lighting conditions, with the dynamic range and contrast suffering a bit in some challenging conditions. The overall results are great most of the time, and even the colours match the two other cameras. And finally, nighttime photos. Similar to images during daytime, these can be overprocessed and oversharpened, and sadly I also found that blooms and the lens flare was very much a thing. Shooting photos at night can be difficult as the results aren't always consistent, but once you get around to figuring out the settings, it can take decent photos in all lighting conditions. The overall photo quality of the Zenfone 11 Ultra is pretty good, and while it's not a Galaxy S24 Ultra or the Pixel 8 Pro, the price difference makes it perfectly acceptable by most modern standards, and it captures great overall images. Most large flagships pack a 5000 mAh battery, but the Zenfone 11 Ultra ups the game by offering a 5500 mAh cell. This lasted me well over a day on a single charge, and when I took a more conservative approach, the phone could easily go onto the second day. Of course, when I pushed the phone to its limits, the battery went down quickly, but browsing, using a few social media apps, messaging friends, and consuming some content with some light gaming will easily net you a full day's worth of power. If you go a bit easy and only watch videos, use social media and browse the web, the Zenfone will easily last another day. But even when you push the Zenfone to its limits, you'll be glad to know that it supports 65 watt fast wired and 15 watts wireless charging. A full charge took less than 45 minutes and it was good to go again for the rest of the day. So, should you buy the Asus Zenfone 11 Ultra? Well, if you're looking for a large smartphone that sports the latest hardware, has a perfectly capable camera setup, and a battery that can last a full day on a single charge, and a beautiful display with a near stock Android experience, the Zenfone 11 Ultra is an excellent flagship. I'm really quite surprised by how well the Zenfone 11 Ultra delivered in nearly every category, and while it's not a flagship without its flaws, it's really good for the price, and that price is $900, which is just under the Pixel 8 Pro. The only area where Asus still lacks is in the software department, which makes it a bit tough to sell given that most companies are offering 3, 4 and a whopping 7 years of updates, whereas Asus only offers 2. That's potentially the only major downside of the Zenfone 11 Ultra, but still, if you're a fan of what you're seeing and what this phone delivers, I'd happily recommend it for those interested in a clear user interface and a device that does really well in nearly every department. And there you have it. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. With all that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.